Everybody, how we all doing tonight, kids? June, Neil, Jerry McCormick, Duggar, Keith, what's up, man? Uncle Stu, Fit, Fit. Yeah. Hey, bud. Appreciate you showing up, man. So, how's everybody's Thursday night going? Oh, well, me. Yeah. Well, y'all y'all figure it out here as we go. Okay. So I know that I should be grateful, maybe grateful-ish. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's been nice here the past couple of days. I mean, like knocking on the door of 80 in the afternoon. But the thing is, last couple of mornings going to work, it's been like driving through a freaking smoke machine at one of the stupid Halloween store. I mean, it's been stupid foggy. I'm like B-rate slasher film foggy. Sigurd, how you doing, man? Janavian, good evening, sir. Mr. Pete Carvo, how are you doing, my man? Mikey, glad you guys can make it. Hang on, let me turn my phone off here, guys, because that way, nobody interrupts me mid-rant here. But yeah, anyway, I'm tired of feeling like I just got out of a cold freaking sauna whenever I get to work in the morning because I'm sticky and gooey and I mean, it's weird. We don't get very much of that down here, and whenever we do, it's like boom, here it is. Hey Tara, how you doing, hon? The Drewish one is with us. Everybody say hi to Drew. He's one of my counterparts at the Ride Factory. How y'all doing tonight, man? Anyway, you guys are probably wondering the reason why I had this moment of madness, so to speak, where, I was like, you know what? People need to hear me bitch about this. Well, I'm going to tell you. I probably spend, well, hell, we all probably spend too damn much time on social media. Let's face facts, okay? I mean, you say something about a toaster, and next thing you know, you get like 20 freaking ads for toasters on your phone and your Instagram and your Facebook, yada, yada, yada. There's emails coming out of everywhere. Yeah, don't tell me Big Brother ain't watching. And I don't know, maybe somebody just decided they wanted to push the hot button, but you know what? They did. Because over on Facebook for the politically correct crowd here, there's this one group that's called Motorcycle Mechanics, I think, or Motorcycle Technicians. Hang on, let me find it for you. I got a little bit of a bitch here. Da, 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 Okay, yeah, the group is just simply titled Motorcycle Mechanics. And a day ago, and I'm going to quote this guy here, but I'm going to leave names out for obvious reasons. The question was, does anybody have any concerns about this recommendation on the certification and or safety process? It follows some issues brought up by bike owners that some shops won't allow the public into the shop areas. And in quotes, make sure the bike shop will let you stand by and observe the mechanic's oversight of your bike, especially for the older models. Many mechanics are quite new to the business and may have questions to ask of the owner. Now, this can be interpreted in a few different ways, okay? And pardon me for not, acknowledging you newcomers here into the chat and everything, everybody welcome, but I'm kind of on a roll here, so bear with me. For one, it could be taken that this question was written by ChatGPT and it was probably the wish.com version of ChatGPT because it doesn't seem like the original poster has a fairly firm grasp of the English lexicon. But what really bothers me about it is the replies. Okay. These are people that are technically my peers in the industry, and it doesn't look good for the industry by going by some of these responses here. Um, this one guy, I wouldn't mind if when they drop off the bike, we went over the issues and any suggestions, but they can watch from the MOT viewing area from when I work on it. Okay, obviously we've got an Englishman here, and they have this thing over there. For those of y'all that don't know, it's called MOT certification. I don't know exactly what MOT stands for, but basically the gist of it is every vehicle, be it motorcycle, car, scooter, ice cream truck, whatever in the hell it is, it's got to have a yearly inspection done. And from what I understand and what I've seen, it's fairly invasive. I mean, they get down to the nut cutting on this stuff. They're checking, how many cracks you've got in the windshield, how many cracks you got in your tail light lenses, exhaust, blah blah blah. They check, for underbody corrosion. They check the age of the brake lines and stuff like that. And hey, good on them for doing that. Honestly, I think it's a bit excessive, but hey, I'm not going to hate on them. But, it brings up the question. How many of you guys, okay, this is a twofold question. How many of you guys have ever taken your bike into a shop and then while that bike was there, you've either requested to go back and speak to the tech that's working on your bike, or you've asked if you could go back and see your bike or have somebody explain to you the problem your bike is experiencing? Yeah, airhead toaster. Yeah, Flash, we get it. We get it. And Doug, I totally agree with you. People don't care for whenever you've got somebody that's a helicopter person where they're sitting there just hovering around. And I get that. You know, Zan, yeah, most shops won't let you back in the shop due to insurance and OSHA regulations. I can get on board with that as well. But the thing is, that's kind of a gray area because we are talking private enterprise here and we are talking personal assessment of risk. So we'll unpack a little bit more there here in just a minute. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of kick in on this. Um, hey man, you are absolutely welcome for the parts list on the fork stuff, man. I mean, small sidebar here, guys. If you haven't already seen it, go check out the posts I've made here the past couple of evenings over on the Patreon. It's got the part numbers, it's got the year ranges, it's got the part descriptions, it's got examples of what bikes you can be looking to graft parts from if you're looking to do like the big brake swap and the Brembo upgrade on a late model Harley touring bike. Also it's got recommended baseline settings for the suspension setup, stuff like that. I spent a while typing all that crap up, and honestly, by the time I was done, my pupils were square. But also, I kind of put it out there to specifically Patreon members. If any of you guys are interested in any of that stuff, number one, go read the post. Number two, message me because I'm kind of trying to do something a little bit special for my Patreon crowd over there. Because they've really stuck it out with me. Ever since we started in this little social experiment. So I figure that's the least I can do to kind of give back for everything that they've gave to me and been able to allow me to be able to do here on the channel. Let's see here. Upcharge for people that don't know. Charge extra to watch. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Doug, I can get on board with that. Just give him the baby. You don't need an explanation of how it happened. Well, in the medical profession, that's a whole different critter than what we're talking about here. But I totally acknowledge and I appreciate your example there. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Okay. So anyway, you guys kind of see my irkdom here with this guy's statements. Now, what bothers me about this is reading down in the post. Here's the responses from this. No, because when you hurt yourself in my workshop, then it's my insurance that has to deal with it and subsequently my pocket. Okay, I can get on board with that, but number one, why are you assuming that everybody is a genetic klutz? I mean, we know some people are, but number two, how can you not be observant enough to, figure out, this person looks like an 8 count box of crayons. I probably shouldn't take them back into the shop with me. Alan Lawrence. The post was from Motorcycle Mechanics Group over on Facebook. I'm kind of picking through the comments here. Let's see here. This one dude right here. I'd set my tools down until you leave and charge you for time wasted. Brother, I would love to see you try that in front of me. That's not going to end well. Now, this one dude here does make some solid, valid points. Says you got to find a trustworthy mechanic. Sadly, most bigger company mechanics and dealerships are about as trustworthy as politicians. Post on your local bike page and ask if anyone has any highly recommended bike mechanics. They'll quickly tell you who they go to and who to avoid. I agree with that. But then again, how do you know you're getting solid info from that? Because I'm not going to point any specific fingers, but there's a fairly large, fairly public group in the area here, and they're very much into the buddy system. Let's put it that way. Sterling Whale, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Happy 2026. We will put that towards the juice box fund, my man. There is. You took it to a tech, and my baby was given back to me and told, "Well, you don't need the choke anymore. It turns on without it now." Okay, odd. What kind of bike have you got again? Because I really don't remember right now, man. Hey, Pitbull, what's happening, dude? Doug, I absolutely agree with you asking for your old parts back. That way you can see what went south on them. Hey, G-Ma, how you doing, man? I'm kind of on my soapbox right now about this post in this motorcycle mechanics group over on Facebook that I saw the other day. Alan Lawrence, Evolution Motorsports is a mom and pop shop, and pretty much anyone can hang in the garage and drink coffee and bullshit. Great shop over in Watertown, New York, and they always give back old parts. See, that's the kind of stuff I like to hear, man, because the the biggest reason that I have left a shop time and time and time again, and these are all dealerships, mind you, whenever I've left them, um, I get tired of having the powers that be try to push me towards treating people like a number. Maybe it's a character flaw. I don't know. But the thing is, I do not feel good about that mindset, and I absolutely detest that approach to interaction with a customer. I mean, it bothers me because there there may be a physical barrier. There may be a wall in between the reception area and where the service desk is and where the shop is. But the thing is, that should not be like a Berlin-esque wall. Okay, I mean, if a customer has questions for me, I have no problem talking with them. Same goes for if they want to know what's going on with their bike. I want to be able to walk up there and speak with them about their bike. And there's been times in the past at previous businesses where I've been told that I was in the wrong for doing that, and I fail to see why. And I've been told everything from, well, your time is valuable, to you shouldn't interact with customers, to it's not your place to represent the business. I Whatever. Okay. So I'm supposed to just shut the hell up and stay in the back like a good little worker drone? No thanks, man. And Drew's nailing it right there. With him talking about it's easier to bring somebody back in the shop and show them what's going on. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And the thing is, that's something that I press to people, everybody at the Ride Factory. Um, Going back to these comments here, some of these are some real doozies, man. Let me tell you. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. This one guy, he's like, let me guess, you could easily do the work yourself if you just had the time. Well, hey, you know, that's kind of a cop out. But then again, there are times where it's a legitimate reason. And, you know, I'm not going to judge anybody based solely on that. Now, I mean, if you come into the shop wearing a pair of Hello Kitty pajamas and you got like four different colors hair, I might get a little judgy. But then again, usually whenever I've got people like that come into the shop, those are some of the people that ask some of the more in-depth and more pertinent questions regarding their motorcycle and the repair of such than most of my regular, beer bellied Harley t-shirt tattooed biker types. I mean, don't just judge a book by the wrapper on the outside. But let's see here. And of course, everybody's like, oh, well, charge them $100 an hour, then charge them $125 an hour if they watch, and $150 an hour if they help, and $200 an hour if you and your buddy tried to fix it first. Uh, and this right here, this is one that really pissed me off a little bit. This guy almost said his name because I was, but anyway, absolutely not. If a customer wants to stand over my shoulder, they can either take it somewhere else or do it them damn selves. This way of thinking is nothing more than ridiculous amounts of entitlement mixed with the Dunning-Kruger effect of being a self-imposed expert. Wow, dude. I mean, somebody stepped on his nuts when he got out of bed that morning, apparently. And then, of course, there's this other guy here. My attitude is do it your bloody self if you don't trust me. Of course, he's got a Union Jack on his profile pic here, so you can kind of get some of the mindset there. Okay, now, here's me. We'll set this thing down because at times this can be a portal to evil. I enjoy what I do. I truly do. And there may be days where I bitch and moan about it. There may be days where I'm like, ooh, come on, quitting time. But you know what? That's going to be any job, anywhere, any place, any environment. I mean, Hugh Hefner's probably had those days or had. But the thing is, we're human, we're fallible. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. My thing is, I am more concerned about explaining to a person what their problem is and what caused it. But in order to do that, a lot of times I have to educate just a little bit. Um, there's times when obviously, with me being in the industry and Drew being in the industry, and a lot of us here, being in the industry or previously or, very closely associated with it, a lot of us here have more than just the common layperson knowledge of the subject matter at hand here. Now, that being said, a lot of people that come into the shop, they kind of fall into two categories. You've got people that have been in and out of the hobby for several years. They're pretty solid and they're pretty dialed in. They know what's up. And then you've got people that are new to the sport and they're still in a learning phase, so to speak. And I would much rather establish a relationship with a customer by being honest with them and saying, look, this is what you did wrong. You don't have to, well, you don't have to be an ass about it. Sometimes you got to sugarcoat it just a little bit just to kind of soften the blow. But the thing is, people are visual learners for the most part. And especially like my new customers that I don't yet have a good read on, or somebody that I've not dealt with very much or very frequently, or like my lady customers that come into the shop, especially them, because GMOC can attest to this. I mean, you gals get put through the ringer at any damn shop you go to because number one, you're a female in a predominantly male-dominated sport, and number two, you're already facing the stereotype of, well, mechanics are going to blow me off. They're not going to respect my opinion. They're not going to answer any questions unless I'm, very persistent about it. That shit don't fly with us. The thing is, I would much rather take 5 minutes out of my day by walking somebody back into the shop and showing them, hey, here's what's going on with your bike. Okay. You've got this, and this going on. Now, This was because of a lack of maintenance. You know, just to drive the point home here, we're going to say, okay, this happened because you didn't change your oil for 8,000 miles. That's generally not good. Now, here's what should have happened, and here's how frequently this needs to be done, and compared how excuse me, comparing how frequently this needs to be done versus how long it's been since you've had it done. That's what caused this wear. That's what caused this damage. Now, here's what we can do to repair the issue, because this is what's failed, but also this has been compromised by it. So, what we can do short term, we can do A, to get you up and running and back on the road. However, if you have the ability to, while we are doing A, if we go ahead and take care of B and C while we're here, not only is it going to save you money in the long run, because you're knocking out a couple of your services that you're either already behind on or something that you're very close to being due for, but you also have a certain amount of overlap with the time that you're being charged for the repair for your primary problem. So if you go ahead and deal with it now, not only are you setting yourself up for success by getting on top of your maintenance and getting ahead of that curve, you're going to save yourself a little bit of money as well, because we're already here. So it's going to take less to do this job now than it would be later on doing it from, ground zero, so to speak. And, of course, I'll take people back and I'll show them what's going on and I'll walk them through the process. And that may take, you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, to where we can have that conversation, because, people have questions. And also, I don't have a Rolodex of all the parts catalogs in my head. So, I've got to look stuff up. The thing is, this is when it goes from a business transaction to an actual conversation. This is the nucleus, if you will, of forming a relationship with a customer. And I've got guys that come into the shop, they've got my personal phone number. Some of you guys have got my personal phone number. But the thing is, if you've got my phone number, you got it for a damn good reason. And, same with my customers. And, I've had guys call me. It's like, hey, I hate to do this, but I'm in a jam. What can I do? Can you help me? Yes, absolutely. Because number one, you should have called me sooner. Number two, hey, you're solid. You're a good dude. You're a good chick. You're just a good ass person. Okay. You've been straight and square with me. Of course, I'll help you out. Now if I've got to go home and get something done for mom or the wife unit or something like that, I'll be like, yeah, I can do it, but here's what I got going on. So how can we get together and make this work? Where can we fit this together to where it all comes together in one piece? But like I said, this is how we learn. This is how we establish a relationship with a customer. I'm sorry, I kind of got off on a little bit of tangent here, but that reading that and reading the overall consensus of the replies to this guy's question, it all came down to most of these guys that actively are working in a shop. Most of them are fairly invested in the industry at this point. I would say probably 10 plus years. Some of these guys, you can tell just by looking at them, they're lifers, and by looking at them, I mean going to their Facebook pages and, looking at their post history, looking at their post history in the group, stuff like that. But you can tell a lot of these guys are gray beards, they're old heads, they've been around the block a time or two. And to see that mindset of basically what it boils down to is, you're dumb and you shouldn't be here, go away. Can't get on board with that, because number one, that's not how you treat people in general. Number two, that's not how you establish a relationship with a customer. That's not how you earn trust from a customer. Um, it just, yeah, I don't get it. I don't see where the disconnect is. I don't see where there was a memo that was passed around that said, okay, after you've been on the job for 10 years, you're allowed to be a dickhead to people. I don't get that. Sorry, I'm catching up on comments here, guys. Uh, hey, Yama Roller, what's up, dude? Ryan, hey, how you doing, man? Keith, sorry about your neighbors, Bubba, but y'all tell me, in y'all's opinion, would it concern you or would it throw a flag up on the radar, if you will, if, as a hypothetical, say you're on a cross country trip and say you pick up a nail in the tire and you've got to go into a shop and you've got to get a tire put on. And while you're there, you chat up the service manager or service writer, whatever the case may be, and you ask them, "Hey, would you mind giving the bike just a quick look over because I'm 1,500 miles from home right now, and I got a ways to go. And would you mind if I, went back there to talk to your tech real quick to ask him a couple of things, or ask him, hey, I've got a couple of concerns about something. I want his opinion on it." What's y'all's thoughts on that? If they tell you flat ass out no, or if they cite some stupid, well, it's shop policy, blah 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 blah, or insurance or OSHA, blah 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 blah. Let's set insurance and OSHA aside for a minute, okay? Because Drew can attest to this, and a lot of you others can as well. Whenever you've been up at the ride factory, if I've got a customer where I need to show them something on their bike, I'll walk them back into the shop, and I don't have a problem with them being back in the shop. Now, after a while, after you kind of establish those building blocks of a relationship with customers, you kind of figure out pretty quick who's got their head screwed on straight and who needs to be observed, to keep them out of trouble. And I've got a few guys where I have no problem if they just walk in the door and wander back into the shop and, grab a cup of coffee on the way through and just hang out for a while and kick tires and bullshit. Because, hey, we're good with that. But it's not like we just leave the door open for the general public with a big sign out there that says, "Hey, go back there and bug the shit out of him." Uh, that's kind of a unwritten discourteous act that a lot of people, especially people that are new to the sport, they figure it out pretty quick whenever it's pointed out to them. But some of them ain't figured it out yet. Every now and then we have to educate people, but we're not dicks about it. It's like, "Hey man, do you mind stepping up front here with me and we can talk about this?" Because our insurance doesn't really allow us to have people wandering freely here throughout the shop. And that's true, but it's not like you have to have them on a leash or something, or make them wear a safety vest or a freaking hard hat or something. I mean, and yes, believe it or not, in Clarksville, Tennessee, a little bit down the road from where our house was, there is I can't quite remember the name of it now, but anyway, they're a local tire store, and they're a small regional chain with like 6, 8 locations in the Nashville metro area, something like that. Hey, Brian, thank you, buddy. I appreciate the hell out of that, brother. I really do. You are a cool dude, my man. But anyway, the only way that they will let you out into their shop area to speak with a technician or to look at your car, they have to have somebody escort you out there. And when you step into the shop, they hand you a pair of safety goggles. I'm not talking safety glasses, I'm talking the old school plastic flat lens, got the black elastic band that wraps around your head, kind of high school science lab safety goggles. You've got to wear those, and they make you put on a day glow green vest. And it's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. But and I still remember that with absolute clarity, even though I've been down here for almost 6 years now, or 10 years now. It's crazy. And Genevian, I'm glad to hear that, man. I mean, that's the thing. The I have always, for a long time, and I mean a long, long time, I have always been of the belief that the mom and pops, the indie shops, kind of like us here at the Ride Factory. I'm not banging my own drum here or anything, and I'm not trying to pimp out the shop, but I am using it as a working example here. Um, these types of establishments, you know, they provide a multiple roles of service that are not only a dealer alternative, it can be more affordable for people. It can be more convenient for some people, but also uh, it seems like more often than not, pretty much everybody at the dealership that's there, they're there for the paycheck as their priority. And some of these guys that have figured out how the system works, they may be back in the shop for 25, 30, 35 years. And, they may be at that upper level where they're capped out on flat rate or what have you. But the thing is, they've been with that company or with that dealership for enough years to where they're pretty comfy and cozy and they more or less have tenure there. So they've got to screw up catastrophically before they've got anything to worry about. And a lot of times those guys kind of get into cruise control mode more or less. At least that's the way that always seems like to me. Just might I agree with you. And it's funny that you choose the term interrogate the owner when doing repairs. I say that jokingly at the shop and everything, but there's a lot of times when I'll have a customer bring a bike in to me and it may have some unusual or obscure problem or an intermittent issue, something like that. And that's when my brain starts firing on about 78,000 synapses at once. And I'm like, okay, do you notice it more at this time of the day or this time of the day? Do you notice it after you go to the car wash? Do you notice it happening, after, does the bike get parked outside? It does. Okay, cool. Is there a lot of dew on the bike early in the morning? Did it start happening then? I mean, just all kind of shit, whatever's related to it. But the more that the more that I can get from them as far as information on what conditions they're noticing the problem, as far as the frequency of the problem, something like that, that makes my job easier because I can sit there in my little monkey brain, pick stuff apart and go, yes, yes, no, no, yes, yo, yes, and kind of work my way down the chain. That way I can filter out all the bullshit and I can get down to the meat and potatoes of it and start looking for the problem that much faster. Hey, Julie, I appreciate that, hon. Thank you very much. but but yeah, the star by your name means you're special, G Ma, because you are. Truth be told, I have no damn idea what in the hell that star means. I am YouTube dumb, y'all. So if you're looking for YouTube knowledge, y'all came to the wrong place. But if you want to know about motorcycles, pull up a chair. By God, we can sit here and bullshit about this all damn night. Alan Lawrence, that's a very good take on that. And yeah, that sums it up short, sweet, and simple. Oh, that's cool, Brian. Good on you, man. I mean, kind of check in with the dude every now and then. If he's struggling a little bit, kind of throw him a bone, help him out, man. I mean, we all got to start somewhere. But the thing is, as a tech, and I'm hesitant to use the word teacher because I was probably the worst damn student in high school that my teachers had ever seen. But um, I kind of feel that not only is it our responsibility to make sure our customers are taken care of, I personally feel like it's my responsibility to help educate people to help them to help prevent them from, getting into a situation where it's either going to put them in, physical danger from accident or a breakdown, something like that, or putting themselves in a bad position where they're going to end up costing themselves money just from simple knowledge that could have been, exchanged in a 30-second conversation. I mean, it costs exactly $0 to be a decent human being. Oh, Sterling. I like the old Beamer stuff. I do. Now, here's the thing. Um, Brother, I'm gonna tell you, well, it's like when we were talking on the phone the other night, man. I never got into the Volkswagen thing, but a lot of people at my high school did, and everybody that had a Volkswagen, they had to build a damn Baja Bug, and everybody that built a Baja Bug, you know how it is. You got to take the bonnet off where you can show off all that sexy ass chrome and build aluminum shit that you bought from J.C. Whitney to put on your Volkswagen motor. And what a lot of people don't realize, and what a lot of people do realize, the distributor cap on a Volkswagen has two spring clips. That's all that holds it down. So you can take your thumbs and go like that, and then the rubber bug for said distributor cap, it slides right off. So that kind of became a bit of a game at our high school. And after the first couple of months, my sophomore year, or yeah, my sophomore year, after the first couple of months, it was a weird thing because everybody that drove a damn bug, I'll be damned if they wasn't walking around with a rotor bug in their pocket. Not the one that was in the car, they had a spare because that kind of turned into the hey, let's fuck with the bug guys game. Gima, I agree with you, and your mama was a very intelligent individual because, with her saying it doesn't cost anything to be nice, she's got it figured out. She really does. Oh, Flash, yeah, the blue star means that like you're a frequent commenter or something like that. Dan, I appreciate that, brother. I mean, here's the thing. I I I knew two things about YouTube 2 years ago. Jack and shit. And Jack done left town, okay? So basically I kind of blundered into this crap head first and, said I'll figure it out along the way. Well, guess what? I'm still figuring it out. But you know, it's it it's a nice feeling to be able to be in a community with like-minded people such as yourselves here and everything to where I can both help and also share experience, share knowledge, share memories. It's that, call me a nerd here, it's kind of a feel good thing for me. I mean, it, yes, it puts food on the table, yes, it pays the electric bill, but you know what, I enjoy it because even after doing this shit for going on 37 years now, there's been times in the past where, yeah, there were times it felt like a job. But thankfully, those days were very few and far between. And I've not had them days in quite some time, So as long as you can feel good about what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing, can you really call it work? I mean, you can call it exertion, you can call it a chore, you can call it, your penance for this time on this mud ball called Earth. But can you really call it work? Because that, to me, that sounds kind of like a a pretty glorified term for compensated servitude. And Mr. Gregory, no, I'm not selling that tour glide. It's not road glide, it's tour glide. It's like the road glide's daddy. Uh, June, you're right. It does pay the bills, and there's there's times when doing the particular job I'm doing may not necessarily be something that I'm all that geeked up about. Like, oh, good, I get to scrape 6 inches of caked on road funk and transmission lube from this guy's shovel head that hasn't seen the light of day in the last 20 years. Awesome, you know. But it's part of it's a piece of the puzzle, you know. Uh, the the public representation that these so-called reality shows like American Chopper, Biker Build Off, all that shit, the way they sensationalized the industry gave so much piss poor and out blatantly wrong information to the general American public about the industry that we work in. It's borderline criminal. But hey, I guess I guess if you're looking for cosplay for dads, then yeah, that's your jam, dude. Go buy the box set. But if if you want to actually learn something and if you want to figure out what's up and what's real and what's bullshit, pick up a book, do a little bit of educating, then get your ass out in the garage and get your hands dirty. Yeah, yeah, Alan, I agree with you. The pencil pushing and the paperwork side of things, yeah, nobody enjoys that shit, man. I mean, nobody. But hey, it's a part of the process and it's a necessary evil. Let's see here, Gene. I'm sorry, you're going to have to bring me up to speed here. What are you talking about? A gold wing, burnt clutch, and rear wheel? I'm lost, man. Sorry. Oh, Mr. Brian B. Uh, well, it depends. Do you have bushings to replace these bushings with once you remove them? Because you are going to destroy them in the process of removal. I can promise you that. Uh, I know exactly the ones that you're talking about because I've got one of those bikes tucked away somewhere for one of these days projects. And Honda used a metallastic bushing with a steel outer shell that pressed into the shock eye that was welded to the swing arm. And realistically, the only way you're going to get that thing out is either burn it out with a torch and make a hell of a mess and a whole lot of stink, or take a cordless drill and go around the perimeter of the rubber and drill you a bunch of holes. Then you can knock the sleeve out of the middle of it and get that damn thing out of your way. Then, very carefully, take a Dremel tool or something similar. You can even use like a hacksaw and just thread the blade through there. But that outer shell that presses into the swing arm, you want to, slice a little notch in there to where it weakens it and it takes the tension off. And then at that point, you can catch the edge of it with a chisel and pop a little bastard right out of there. And then pick it up off the floor and throw it as far as you can in any random direction because that's the only kind of burial that little rotten bastard deserves. Oh, June, you're talking about that gold wing that we had up at the shop a while back. No, he didn't have a problem with the clutch or anything. The clutch in his bike was fine, but he wanted me to fix that rear tire that was not only slick in the middle, but that thing had been run so ridiculously low and it was cupped and scalloped so bad the outer edges of the tire looked like a sand paddle on a freaking sand rail. Oh, Greg, you ain't late, man. You showed up. You're right on time. There it is. Case closed. Brian, air hammer's not going to work that great, and I'll tell you why. Because rubber's rubber, and rubber's squishy, and it absorbs so much of the hit from your air hammer. If you're trying to push it out that way, you're just going to make a lot of noise and make your hands go numb. Figured that one out the hard way. If you got bushings to put in there, just drill holes through the rubber and punch the sleeve out, and then just slice that little metal outer shell. It'll come out way easier with a whole lot less cussing, man. Well, Jeremy, it would in normal instances, but the ones that Brian's talking about, when they manufacture these bushings, they've got a steel sleeve in the middle and they've got a steel sleeve on the outer portion of it, and that rubber is injection molded and it's bonded to both sleeves. So it's, for all intents and purposes, a one piece assembly when it's done. So, dry ice, it may make the rubber harder, but it ain't gonna make it draw up to where you can push it out of there. Yeah, yeah, Doug, you get it. Now, dealing with stuff like that, the best way is just to take the rubber out of the equation. Do whatever you got to do, drill holes in it, cook it with a torch, whatever. If you got a ball joint press, just push the junk out of the middle and get it out of your way. What you want to get down to realistically is that steel shell on the outside. That way you can slice into it and weaken it to where you can get that steel shell pushed out of the swing arm. But anyway, uh, I had to fabricate a bushing driver the other day because I had to rebush the swing arm on a 63 Triumph Tiger that we've got up at the shop right now. And honestly, I don't think anybody had greased the swing arm pivot on that bike ever at all because there's a grease zerd on the bottom of the swing arm tube. But whenever I pulled the swing arm off, there was no grease inside the swing arm tube. But the reason I put new bushings in this thing is because if you grab the frame, you could grab the rear wheel and you could shake the swing arm side to side about a half inch on this dude's bike. Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? I'm doing good, dude. Huh. No, we're not kicking you out of the cool kids club if you sell your Indian, okay? Actually, I know that you're pissed at Harley for, pulling the plug on the Road King, but Harley hasn't ran Harley for quite some time at this point. Okay, I mean the bean counters that oversee all the T-shirt production are the ones that's been driving the boat for the last 10 years at least. Besides, the way I look at it, number one, I ain't ever buying a new vehicle. I don't care who in the hell builds a damn thing. I ain't taking that depreciation hit. Let the first sucker do that. I mean, the first customer do that. Right, I appreciate that, man. Um, you know, I I kind of I don't do that many lives, y'all know that, and a lot of times whenever I do, it's whenever something like this has kind of got my ass hairs up and I feel like I need to rant a little bit. And it's kind of a twofold thing because number one, it lets me get some stuff off my chest, but number two, it lets me, kind of go back and forth with you guys, and basically I'm asking, hey, am I stupid for feeling like this, or are you guys kind of picking up what I'm putting down here? Hey, good going, Mark. That's good to hear, man. Oh shit. I didn't see that Angel snuck in here. Hey everybody, say hi to Angel, Red Rider Canada. Howdy. Are you enjoying your snow? Have you made a snow fort this year? If you haven't made a snow fort this year, why not? You're behind schedule. I have questions. The most hated Honda that's fun to ride. There's a list of those actually. Um, how can you add horsepower to this underpowered machine? Um, yes, you can. There are some companies out there that can do a flash tune on the ECU. However, what I would recommend doing is find an older Power Commander for your bike. The new Power Commander, the Power Commander 6, there's too much nanny tech in there because Dynajet got their hand smacked pretty bad by the feds and the EPA a couple of years ago. So they really locked down on that stuff. Uh, Hey, Gibson, give me 1 second, man. I'll be right back to you. Okay, I promise. If I get off on a tangent here, just ping me in the chat and kind of rein me in. But anyway, back to your Honda Fury question here. Look for a Power Commander 5 because Power Commander 5, dude, those things were wide open. I mean, the sky was the limit as far as what kind of tuning you could do. Dynajet had a metric shit ton of maps available for them, and they were very easily modified. They've since updated their security protocol and also the way their maps are coded to where you have to register with Dynajet to where you have to register your email with Dynajet to where you can download maps from them regardless. Okay, you got to be able to you have to do that to be able to download maps from them. But if you download the Power Commander 5 maps, they still have that little backdoor in there to where it's very easy to go in there and modify them. And if you're working with a if you're working with a local shop, or especially if you take your bike somewhere that knows how to dyno tune and can dyno tune successfully, that's where you're going to find what you're looking for. Past that, man, you're going to have to kick over a couple rocks here and there, because basically what you got is a VTX 1300 motor. It's got fuel injection and not carbureted, so all of your classic hop up stuff's going to apply there. Port and polish stuff, better airflow through the heads. Um, you know, More aggressive cam profile, webcam, not those kind of webcams. We had a discussion about that this morning, but anyway, webcamshaft.com. Make very sure you type it in your browser as such. Don't just Google webcams, or else you're probably going to get in trouble. I had a guy yell at me a while back for that, but yeah, y'all can understand why. Hmm. But Web will grind you pretty much any kind of a cam profile you want. And they've probably got a couple of grinds that they've already worked with and are familiar with listed on their website. So, classic hot rod stuff still applies. Throw a cam in it, build the motor to where you can get more airflow through it. What you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to have to find somebody that knows how to do EFI tuning on a dyno, and that's what you're going to have to do to tune all of it. I mean, you can strap a supercharger on the side of the damn thing, and a Power Commander 5 will it'll let you tune for it, because it's got that much more versatility. But the new Power Commander 6, man, they really, really painted people in a corner with that thing, because after all these guys with the performance diesel shops and all that were getting slapped with multi-million-dollar fines by the EPA and facing prison time at Club Fed and all that stuff. They kind of went scrambling, and they went running scared. Okay, let me see here. Let me roll back up just a little bit. Okay, Gibson. Best way to get a pair of Olin's rear shocks rebuilt. Um, I have a couple of different places that we deal with that are Olin service centers. I am drawing a total blank right now as far as names, but if you shoot us an email at theridefactory@gmail.com, or if you give me a call tomorrow, it's here, I'll put the phone number in the chat here for you, bud. But if you give me a call and jog my memory, I'll do some looking real quick, and I'll get you some phone numbers and get you pointed in the right direction there, okay? Yeah, Todd, you ain't kidding there, man. A lot of There's a lot of shops out there that just kind of like, okay, we're going to dial it back just a little bit, kind of keep our heads down here, and we're going to write it out just to make sure that nobody's looking at us too hard. Oh, and 22 Ninja ZX14. What Genevian just said right there about tuning his Rocket 3 with that Power Commander 5 with the auto tune, the auto tune is absolutely worth it, because what it is, it's a separate module that piggybacks on top of the Power Commander, but it uses a wideband O2 sensor. And what it will do is, once you download a map into the Power Commander, if you enable auto tune files on the Power Commander setup, it's going to data sample from the oxygen sensor as the bike's riding, and it's going to make it's going to make minor adjustments on things like timing curve, fuel trim, AFR, timing advance, things like that. That way, it will keep you at whatever your preset, you know, optimal air fuel ratio is, whatever you set it for. I mean, for a good blend between performance and economy and everything, shoot for an AFR, an average AFR of around 13.1 to 13.4, somewhere in that neck of the woods. It's a little bit it's a little bit leaner than 12.7 to 12.9. That's kind of the sweet spot for making your peak horsepower numbers, but it keeps it from being a little overly rich and carboning up the motor and setting it up and just dumping too much fuel through it, especially when you're just cruising down the highway. Well, Gma, here's the thing, small shops, when all that was blowing up, everybody was kind of running scared, and they're like, "Whoa, are we going to have the feds showing up at the door checking us out? I mean, what do we do?" Because everybody had a whole lot of questions, and nobody really had any solid answers. So it was kind of always the elephant in the room there. There's especially for guys in the marine industry that do two-stroke work, and guys out there in the motorcycle industry that still do two-stroke work and performance work, stuff like that. It was a big concern. uh Gibson, what do you mean, is it worth the trouble to do it? I'm not understanding your question there, my man. Sorry, O1, I had to get uh get caught up there on chat. You're asking about greasing your cowie. I would say, depending on what it is, like on shock linkage, something like that, uh, give it a couple squirts, basically just until you see a little bit of grease coming out around the pivot points and everything. At that point, stop, man. It's not one of those, more gooey, more gooder type of things, because the main thing is you're just wanting to get a little bit of fresh grease into the bearings and push the old used grease out and just kind of clear it out. Just don't let the excess sit there, because all it's going to do is attract road funk and dirt and everything. So after it pooches a little bit out and everything, just clean that crap up instead of just leaving it there. Oh, we got the Strombolis in the house. I want a sandwich. How y'all doing tonight? Sorry, I had to partake of my happy anti-murder adulting juice there. But but yeah, like I said, the the big bad that was floating around out there when it was getting made really public about all these aftermarket shops getting these ginormous fines and jail time, and in a lot of instances getting literally shut down by the feds. you know a lot of people are like, "Ooh, what happens if they show up here?" And that was always one of those things where nobody knew what was going on, and nobody knew, hey, uh, are we going to be next? Well, Lala, I hate to say it, but the wife and Joey, I hate to say it, but the wife unit had to make an early night of it tonight, because on this training schedule that she's on right now, she's got to leave out of the house here at 5 in the morning, at least for the foreseeable future, until the tail end of March. Ugh. And that's got me all kind of screwed up right now, because usually I wake up with her to help her get out the door and make sure that she's clicking on all eight cylinders, so to speak. And most of the time I just stay up. Sometimes I'll try to go back to bed, but it screws me up something terrible. Peter, you talking about on that old tour glide that you bought? Um, if it's losing pressure, dude, it's got to be in the master cylinder, because if you're not seeing fluid coming out of the calipers or the hoses, if you're not seeing it leak down on the ground, it's got to be bypassing around that cup seal that's inside the master cylinder, dude. Um, I know you said you had the thing rebuilt, but there may be a scratch or a scar inside the bore of that master cylinder that's allowing a path for that fluid pressure to leak and get back around on the backside of that seal. Well, half a tank, that's kind of an open ended question there, bud, because you may have a 110 motor and it may have 10 to 1 compression, but what do you got in it for the way of head mods? Do you have any porting in there? What kind of exhaust do you have? Do you have any valve springs in there? I mean, there's a lot more pieces to that puzzle, but my man. Riders, Angel. I'll catch you next trip, hon. Lala, don't feel bad because you ain't the only one that's ever done that. And the other person that's done that has done it more than once. Yeah, Pete, that's the thing, man. You're probably just going to have to end up breaking down and buying a master cylinder. I'll tell you what, though, dude, if you can shoot me a picture of that, let me kick over a couple of rocks. I may actually have one. So, like I said, shoot me a picture of that thing. Gibson, are you talking about your Olin shocks that you were asking me about? Or are you talking about like the stock shocks that come off the back of that ultra classic? Carl, that's a very good question. And I I'm a horrible mechanic because I don't know the answer to that right now. I probably knew at one point in time, but I've long since forgot. Um, I would imagine that the 20-year rule applies on that. And, anything older than 20 model years should be exempt from any kind of emissions testing or any kind of emissions regulation. But thankfully, you and I both live in a state where, that's not really a thing for us. We'll see you in March, Angel. Keep warm, girl. um, Giffen, I'll tell you right now, Olin's are a very good product and they're a very expensive product. Now, the thing is, they're very easily rebuilt, they're extremely serviceable. The only caveat there is Olin's is kind of stingy as far as who they will sell replacement parts to. And unless you know somebody, which unfortunately I don't because I'm not that high speed and my wallet's not that thick, you have to go to an Olin service center. Now, one thing that you might consider doing, nobody's going to pick up the phone right now, but tomorrow, call up Racetech. Um, Racetech Suspension, call those guys up because you can send stuff into them. They do an excellent job on their turnaround time and on the product that they put out. Another guy that you might want to talk to as well is Max McAllister's shop, Traction Dynamics. Max is a good dude. I've spoken with him many, many times over the years. Really innovative guy, and honestly, he's kind of the dark horse in the industry. But I mean, his products are second to none. And when it comes to suspension, that guy has forgotten more than any I will ever know. I mean, I would not doubt that he would probably say, "Yeah, put it in a box and send it to me." But if you're talking about just, you know, buying a new set because you got one leaking, dude, I think you'd be able to get you, unless somebody, threw it in the middle of the highway and let trucks run over it for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to build them and get right with them and everything for a hell of a lot cheaper than just buying a new set. Oh, Pete, you got your Naster Nike right now? I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it. We're gonna keep it PG-13 tonight. Well, we're gonna try. Oh, Lala, that's so sweet. Joey, you're doing it right, man. Apparently, apparently he likes you and he wants to keep you around for a while or something. Yeah, this is my shop cup. It's Star Warsy, obviously, but it holds exactly one large and one small from my little Keurig pot, and it does it just right. That and also that thing's tough as shit. I've knocked that thing off the damn workbench 4 or 5 times and it ain't busted yet. Oh, let's see here. Sorry, guys, I'm reading comments. Yeah, Alan. California is the same way. If you go through an emissions testing station, if you got a check engine light on, they'll automatically fail you. Um, when I was still doing automotive as a day gig, there was rumors about uh, emissions testing, in Northwest Arkansas and up in northern Arkansas, up around Fayetteville, Bentonville, all that. They do have emissions testing up there nowadays, or at least that's what I've been told. Uh, where we were at right there off of Interstate 40 in little Podunk, Crawford County. Thankfully, that never came to be. And then when I was living in Tennessee, we never had an issue with it. We never had to fart around with it there in Montgomery County. But if you go 45 minutes down the road down to Nashville, you had to I think it's Stewart County, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you had to smog your cars down there. So it's one of those things. It's like, miss me by that much. Uh, Brian, you can use a diesel rated oil in pretty much any motorcycle. The only ones that you might want to be a little cautious with would be, some of the high strung Euro trash or pasta rockets like a BMW or Ducati that use like the goofy oil specs like a 5W40 or a 0W40 spec oil, because they may have variable valve timing or something like that. But any normal motorcycle, dude, you can put diesel oil, oil that's rated for a diesel motor, you can put it in there with no problem. Just make sure that you're not putting too light of an oil in there, because if the bike specs like a 2040 or a 2050, you wouldn't want to put a 1540 in there because you're going thinner on the base weight. Hey, Serenity, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Gma, I know. I have done more miles on the pig trail than I could possibly begin to count, and I miss it. I really do. Fun little factoid here. Mama's house up on the mountain in Arkansas. Um, she's about 15 minutes worth of dirt road down the road from where Highway 23 comes out of Ozark, just north of Interstate 40. So it ain't that far away. Yeah, Joey, I hear you there. Um, I have the occasional it's check emissions light. It's check engine light, but it pops up on the driver center. It says check emissions on the Acura that we bought to replace Turby with. But it pops up about once a month and then it goes away the next day. So I ain't stressing over it too awful hard at this point. Turby, um, the check engine light in that car was pretty much immortal. It was the Highlander version of the check engine light because no matter what in the hell you did, no matter what I tried on that thing, I could not get rid of that damn catalyst efficiency code. And I put a CAD on that thing, I put O2 sensors on it, I threw a turbo on there thinking that was, may have been influencing it somehow. No dice. And then some shithead come along and wrecked the car for me. So in a very detached, roundabout sort of way. The guy kind of, I guess you could say, did me a favor, but not really. La la, hey, uh, that check engine light, unless it's blinking, I don't worry about it. If it's blinking, then that means there's something that's it's important enough you might want to look at it. But if it's just there, it's just there. Pete, please tell me you told him to put bass boat flake in this thing. Please. Please. Because I mean, if you want it over the top, it's got to look like a Ranger bass boat. I mean, it has to. That's what you call pimp flake, man. Oh, that's cool. How do you like the tri glide anyway? Because I've ridden a few of them. I've ridden. Actually, I built probably about probably about 20 of the first Indian trikes that were sold out of St. Pete Power Sports were ones that I had built before I'd left that establishment. But the Indians rode okay-ish, but still, it was definitely a different mindset riding something with three wheels compared to riding a normal two wheel. Now the Can Am, on the other hand, the spiders, they designed that thing from a blank sheet of paper as being a two-wheel forward tricycle, and the thing is, they nailed that shit. Those things, they handle good, they ride good, they will corner extremely flat. But hey, the Parkies are here. Yeah, well, the cigarettes didn't stunt my growth. Okay, I mean the 2.5 pounds of medical grade stainless that was connecting my leg to my ass for a few years, that didn't help. Lala, you will be happy to know that Sonic is thriving out here in the garage. Hang on one sec. There you go. Proof of life photo. See, he's waving high. Actually, I need to water the little guy. He's about due. Just might. Um, I tried that. Didn't work. Damn sure didn't work. Yeah, DXT Clue, I know they work, and I may have done it a few times in the past, but it didn't work on that damn Sonic. Hey, yeah, I know, man. They're getting stupid as far as what they will and what they won't let you do just because of a damn check engine light. Yeah, Joey, I feel your pain, dude. You know, well, hey, Pete, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, the power of the shop cactus compels you, I guess. Yeah, Lala, it's been about a week. I water him once a week, and I kind of got in the habit. And I took this upon myself because she was preoccupied with the whole healing process, and even after that, I love her, but she'd forget her damn head if it wasn't attached. Now we can say it's screwed on though, because it is. But like I said, I give him water once a week, about an eyedropper full, and he's good with that. Oh, Pete, I'm sure that one of these days I'm gonna probably get on somebody's no, you can't do that list, and they may pull the plug on me, but I don't think it's gonna be tonight because I got I got most of my unmentionable out of my system before we come on here. But anyways, um, wow, we kind of got off track with this a little bit. Oh, dude, you got the Marty McFly Toyota? Sweet. Awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I agree. What track? It's it's more of a generalized pathway. And I kind of like it like that because we don't have any goals that we have to attain. We just got to be here and work our way through it. Speaking of cars, over New Year's, some good personal friends of me and the wife unit and viewers of the channel here, they gifted me a 2011 Hyundai Elantra wagon. And, you know, they had received a new vehicle from an inheritance and they thought of me. And I really appreciate that. I do, because my friend knew that I was looking for just kind of a little cheap get around car that I could use, whenever it was really shitty raining outside, or if I needed to, hook up a trailer and drag another wayward soul home to their house, or, up to the shop, something like that. And, I appreciate the hell out of them thinking of me on that. I really do. I got a little bit of fixing work I got to do to it here and there, but all in all, you know what? Hey, I ain't gonna bitch about it, and I damn sure ain't gonna look a gift horse in the mouth because they didn't have to do that. They could have put it up on marketplace and got, I don't know, 2 grand, 2,500 out of it, something like that. But I appreciate that. That's something that I kind of had a hard time with, and I still kind of do. Because I I hate feeling like you know I hate feeling like that, I owe somebody something, because to me, I'm not real good with I'm not real good with receiving gifts. I never have been. It's just, yeah, call it a character flaw. I don't know, but I do appreciate it. I really do. Um, it ain't gonna win no beauty queen, or it ain't gonna win no beauty awards. And let's be honest here, the award that it's probably strongly in contention for a shitbox of the year. But you know what? I'm good with that because that's how we roll. But you know, window motor and a tow hitch will be here for it here in a few days, and that way we can start using it to do truck stuff, even though it's not a truck. So, but well, would if I put wood grain paneling on the side of that thing, would that technically make it the family truckster 2.0? I mean, this is an honest question. I'm not sure. It's not green, but I mean, I've got green house paint and a Wagner power painter. I can remedy that. No, Drew, it does not identify as an SUV. Okay, I mean, if if I get out of the car first thing in the morning and my knees crack, no, it ain't identifying as anything truck like. Flash, actually, he's the customer with the shovel head that we're building out here, and yes, he does see three restorations. He does it as a hobby. He doesn't do it as a means of employment, but I think that he had mentioned that he does it on a per hire basis. I'm not sure. Uh, uh, Drew, that thing is going to be, well, let's put it this way. I don't just abuse my shit, but I don't baby it neither. But when it comes to the little wagon out there, Truckster 2.0, yeah, it will be the embodiment of user friendly. I don't know, Lala. I can't dance, so I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But yeah, I've been looking around for a while, and I was looking for something like a Rav4 or like a the Honda. Oh crap, what do they call it? CRV. Like something. It's like a little baby cute ute, something like that, something along those lines. But hey, I don't need 4-wheel drive because snow is not a thing in Florida. I mean, obviously, you guys saw me whenever I went to go grab Sonic. I'm in full flip flop mode right now, so I ain't got to worry about needing 4-wheel drive. But yeah, you know, Truckster 2.0. Oh shit, that's gonna be stuck in my head now. So Truckster 2.0, he's uh he's gonna see some use. While I agree with you, it is absolutely amazing right now. And I am not complaining in the least. I mean, the fog's a little bit inconvenient in the morning, but I can easily overlook that. But anyways, oh yeah, something I want to let you guys know that I've been pondering, and this isn't a for sure thing just yet, but it's a strong possibility at this point. Because of the recent change in the wife unit's work schedule, I may be moving my videos to Thursday night instead of Monday night because the way her work schedule and my work schedule is lining up right now, um, it looks like we're only going to have one day off a week together. And, you know, that's going to be Sunday. And that's usually when I do a lot of my in-depth shop stuff and filming and stuff like that, editing and everything. And guys, I'm sorry, but I miss being able to hang out with my old lady. Damn it! And now that she's got her voice back and she's talking normal and she's mostly 100%, uh, yeah, I'm gonna take some time to where we can carve out a day a week for us, and then I'll figure my shit out on the side. But we're probably going to be. I'm not dead set on it yet, but there is a very good possibility I'm going to be moving my videos over to doing it on Thursday nights. Okay, Drew, we need to look at that in the morning, dude. We seriously need to look at that in the morning. Sorry, y'all. I'm reading comments here. I I can't do that whole gecko thing where I got one eyeball here and one eyeball here. I just ain't that coordinated. Brian and the Strombolis, I appreciate it, guys. Really, I do. Um, she just to give y'all an update on her and where she's at. Like I said, she is largely recovered at this point. We don't have any more doctor's appointments until September of this year. Her 1 year follow up with her uh, neurological surgeon. But uh, Alan, stop that. That's not nice, man. But it's funny. Don't get me wrong, but that shit's not nice. But yeah, she's been back at work for right at about a month now, and she's doing good. She's back at she's back at Mouse Central, and she's back to kicking ass and taking names and spreading the bibbity bobbity boo. So yeah, she's doing good. She still gets a little bit jumpy in traffic from time to time, but considering what she went through, I can't blame her. Uh, the other night we had some numbnuts kid that was on a GSXR or whatever in the hell, and he passed us on the right hand shoulder of 275 when we were coming back home, and I was clocking along doing about 75, and that dude must have been doing the ton, if not more, whenever he passed me. But I was legitimately pissed off about that. And it not because he's riding like an idiot and riding stupid. I was pissed off about her reaction because it spooked her and startled her so damn bad. But it's one of those things where this is realistically the first real wreck that she's ever been in. So there's going to be some stuff where it's going to take her a little time to get over the hump and everything. But just as far as the normal day to day goes, she's doing good, y'all. And for everybody that reached out, for everybody that helped us out on the GoFundMe, when she was down and out, and I was, here at the house, trying to help keep an eye on her and get her back on the road to healing and everything. Y'all have no idea how much that meant to us. I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I mean that in the most sincerest of ways. I agree with you, John. That I was when I got her home from the hospital. I can honestly say when we got her home from the hospital, I was probably just as delicate and cautious with her, if not more so, than I was when the kids were born. Because, well, let's face it here, when the kids were born, they're about that size and they're basically an ambulatory potato, and that's it. With her, we had to be very careful about, trip hazards around the house. And our house has some weird step ups and step downs to it and things like that. And, it just, stuff like that. And plus, with her disorientation and her vertigo and everything and her dizziness, especially when she was fresh off of her surgery, I kind of had the first week I went back to work, I had a hard time with that because I was always, wondering, how's she doing? How's she getting along? Does she need anything? You know, that's that's the one saving grace there is the fact that, she could text me because she couldn't really talk at that point still. But yeah, I it scared the shit out of me. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, Alan, trust me, I know. Um, our daughter, when we were still living in Arkansas, this before our son was born. We were living in a townhouse, and the stairs were not carpeted; they were just hardwood stairs, and they were fairly steep, and there was a brick wall at the bottom of them, and not not quite a no no. She had just turned a year old, and we had watched the movie Cool Runnings. And apparently, our daughter thought that it was going to be a good idea to use the laundry basket as a bobsled. And the stairs were her hill, and she bounced pretty good. Oh, Carl, we're still working with that because that got sidetracked and set aside when she got in her wreck and everything. And to be honest with you, I got to get my ass back in gear on that and get that wrapped up and done because yeah, we've looked at it for so long where we've kind of become immune to it, And I'm like, and I walked in there the other day and I'm like, shit, I got to finish this. Uh, Drew, there were several times where we had to basically make up street rules for sign language, and she would have to text me stuff because that first, couple 3 weeks after her surgery, she couldn't talk. It was damn quiet around my house for a while. But yeah, uh, Squid Boy's got a new job that he's working where he works with a nonprofit here in the Tampa area, and his work schedule is very random, and so I've got a. This is another thing with me moving my nights around a little bit. I've got to be able to have a solid weekend to where I can make some headway and make some meaningful progress on getting some stuff. took care of around the house here that I have woefully gotten behind on. And I will fully own that. That's 100% on me. But, hey, 26, new year, new me, resolutions, 100 pounds lighter. Yeah, we all know that's bullshit, but that's the make believe feel good stuff we tell ourselves at New Year's and everything, just to where we can kind of feel good about how bad we're going to slack off throughout the course of the year. Turpentine, what are you talking about, man? What? This? Jersey Cola, dude. Oh man, don't talk to me about the bounce on the asphalt, okay? I mean, I I still remember. Alan, it may not always be the voice of reason, but it is one that I missed greatly for quite some time there. Yeah. And damn it, I tried, but there were so many times where I would kind of accidentally, but not accidentally, but accidentally slip and call her Marge because she sounded just like Marge Simpson. I swear to God. I mean, to the T, like Marge Simpson. Well, Lala, it's at the gas station down the road from my house. I mean, you can find it all over the Tampa area. Yeah, yeah, Flash. But we didn't have steps when I was a kid. But the thing is, we had our porch was kind of tall, and back in Arkansas, we didn't really get snow. We got freezing rain and sleet and stuff. So, you know, the steps going up into the house, first thing in the morning, you go out there and you throw some rock salt out on it and everything, and scrape it with a shovel. That way, nobody busted their ass trying to get out of the house out to the truck to go to town. Clothes, wrong color blue, Luris. No, she did not like being called Wheezy, but damn it, it was funny. Alan, we use Pam on the bottom side of the fenders and the frame rails and engine cases and all that stuff on our dirt bikes, keep mud from sticking to them at a mud race, man. You would be surprised at how many non cooking, non kitchen things that Pam is a superior product for. Also, if you wanted to really screw with somebody, sit there and spray it down on the vinyl bench seat in their damn truck. Well, then watch them go around a corner. That's awesome. But anyway, gang, like I said, reading that earlier tonight, that bothered me. And on a hamster wheel, well, yeah, I can see where it'd work on a hamster wheel. It's food grade product, so you don't have to worry about poisoning the little fluffy guys. Um, I would imagine it would, but see here's the weird thing though, Carl. Here the past year and a half, 2 years, I have not seen any love bugs, period, at all. It's like they just turned them off. Um, I don't know. Maybe they're micro drones that the government had out for a while, and they decided, well, okay, Tampa's boring. We're not going to watch them anymore. That's actually a damn good idea. I never thought about using it on a lawnmower. Gma, what are you talking about? What was said? Oh, you guys still got the love bugs over there on your side, Lala? Yeah, like I said, I've not. I can't recall seeing one in like the last 2 years. Oh, my original rant. Well, that's what I was kind of looping back to there, Gma. Um, that Facebook group that I was reading that post in earlier today. That really bothered me because I kind of hate to think that everybody that doesn't really know the industry is just a common passerby is going to read that and think that's kind of the general consensus that all shops and all techs have. Because I mean, have I fired some customers in the past? Yeah, unfortunately, I've had to because you can try to reason with somebody all day long, but once you get to a finite point where they're being unreasonable and they're on the verge of being belligerent and threatening, I got no place for that in the shop, and I'm not going to deal with it. So sorry, bye, you're done. But you know, if you're going to burn that bridge, you're going to be the one to throw the match, dude. I'm not just going to be like, no, get out of here just because I don't like you. But it's just I kind of hate to think that mechanics in general get stereotyped like that. And the thing is, this is kind of like version 2.0 for me because that general mindset and general outlook towards technicians that played a big part in me leaving the automotive industry as a source of employment and everything because I just got tired of everybody coming into the shop and automatically being predispositioned to us trying to milk them for every dollar that they had, and that no matter what it was, we were out to screw them. And I just don't like that. I don't care for that. That's the thing. I want to build a relationship with my customer base. I want them to be a friend of the shop. I don't want them to be just a customer. I want them to be part of the extended family. I want them to be somebody that can come in and say, "Hey, man, how you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Everything going good? Somebody I can have a conversation with other than just the obvious conversation in the room. It's like, here's your bill, hand me money. That's not a relationship. That's a transaction, nothing more. I mean, there's there's other industries where that's perfectly acceptable, but mine's not one of them. Yeah, yeah, there are unreasonable patrons too. And the thing is, that's partly why we try to educate, because if we can cut through all the bullshit and the hoopla and everything and get down to the meat and potatoes of things, that makes things go so much simpler and makes things transpire a whole lot easier than sitting here trying to have a mental keyboard, my dad can kick your dad's ass, scrapping match back and forth. It just it doesn't work. Doesn't do anything for anybody. Riders, Joey, I love you, brother. Lala, are you checking out too? I didn't see where you were leaving out, but if you guys are pulling the plug for tonight, uh, y'all have fun, and I look forward to seeing you here in March. Okay, y'all be good. But you know, the I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a big difference between somebody that does this kind of work and chooses this kind of a lifestyle and an environment to center their life around, more or less, than somebody that's just out for it for a paycheck. Um, I mean, I've met extremely few people in the industry that I would call a lifer that wasn't just an absolute, pardon the pun, addict whenever it comes to any and all thing motorcycle or power sports. I've been fortunate enough to work with and have met some extremely passionate people within the industry, and you know those guys just live it, eat it, and breathe it, and those are the ones that stick it out. And I mean, I guess maybe you could say I fall in that category, even though I don't think that I take it to quite that extreme. But you know what? I mean, if if you're using if you're using how often you ride your bike as a metric, I guess I fall into that category because there might be 1 or 2 days out of the month where I'm not on one of my bikes, be it transport back and forth to work or running errands or whatever. Taking the fact that I work on bikes for a living out of the equation and setting that aside, if I'm going somewhere, I'm on my scooter. So, yeah. and I'm blessed enough to have kind of a selection to choose from. Kind of depending on my mood. Niners, Joey. Niners, Lala. I love you guys. Flash, there is a reason that our parking lot is cram packed damn near every time you see it. It's because yeah, we're busy. We're extremely busy. And truth be told, I really need to find another tech that I can bring on, but I need somebody that has got some skills and some responsibility level to them that unfortunately I've not been able to find, and it's kind of hard to find because there's too many people that get into this. Too many people get into this industry for all the wrong reasons, or they've bought the sales pitch from like MMI and stuff like that, and they swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. But yeah, you know, Carl, I'm happy as hell for you for that, dude. I mean, props to you, dude, because you worked your ass off and you earned it. Good, man. One of these days I might get there. Hey, Ron, I appreciate that, man. And dude, if you ever get any questions or you ever get in a jam, you know how to find me. You know how to get a hold of me. Hit me up, dude. I got no problem helping you out, dude. Alan Shelby's doing good, man. I mean, he's over at the other place now. He's getting along. He's just doing it and digging it, man. I mean, he's doing good. Uh, I need to go over there and hang out with him because I haven't had a chance to do that in a long damn time. But yeah, we talk quite often. He's doing okay. He he called me the other day and he's like, um, "Hey, have you got these air conditioning tools for my car?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "Well, funny thing, whenever the AC compressor locks up, the motor don't go so good." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll run them over to you tonight, dude." But hell, Serenity, if you know how to use a hammer on a nail, then you're probably further ahead of the curve than I am. I I flunked wood shop in junior high. Built a birdhouse, and the Fair Housing Committee condemned that shit. Yeah, John. Unfortunately, I have the same problem, and I get drug into that stuff a lot more often than I probably should be. But it's just one of those things, you know. Just might. Sadly, I agree with you, man. I've got a kind of a checklist that I run through with people that I'm talking to as a potential hire, and unfortunately, most everybody I talk to, they fail horribly. So it's one of those things. That's why we brought Angel on at the Ride Factory. That's why I twisted Drew's arm to come over there and work with us at the Ride Factory. These are people that have a analytical mind and they're receptive to learning a skill, learning a trade. But not only that, it's not just learning how to replace this part, it's learning why they have to replace this part, learning the steps to replace that part, and learning the steps and how that part failed. I mean, it's a different mindset for sure. Heath, I need a tech. That's what I need. What I need is a clone, but we're still a few years off from that. But that way I can tell myself, "Hey, self, go get your ass to work. I'm going to sit here and drink a beer." But Lala Angel is doing totally fine. Him and Chelsea come out of that pretty good. He's still. he still runs around the shop, and occasionally, if the sun's just in the right spot, I'll get blinded from the glare on his head. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, I as a tech in the industry, I think that we should have to hold ourselves to a bit of a higher standard whenever it comes to working with our customers, because the thing is, nobody stood out on the side of the road with a sign that says, "Hey, you come in here." Nobody went out there and drug somebody into the building and said, "Hey, you spend money here." We we have people that come to us looking for help, be it with a problem or with something that they want to do to personalize their motorcycle to their taste, or to just maintain it and keep it from having a problem. And regardless of their knowledge or their skill set when it comes to their bike, that doesn't make them any less of a person. And it costs exactly $0 to be a decent person to another decent person. So, if I had to say something to everybody out there that works in a customer service type of environment, similar to like what we do, take the time, have a conversation, explain things. Don't just point at something and say, "See that? That's bad." Spend a little bit of time educating. Have a conversation with your customer. That way, you kind of get a little bit better idea of who they are, how they are, what kind of situation they might be in. If you can help them out, help them out. But you know, just don't just treat them like a number, because that's a real person, and that's somebody's dad, mom, their kids, their uncle, brother, whatever. But you've got to keep in mind that, especially in this industry, regardless of what we're doing, I mean, even if you're changing a taillight bulb on a motorcycle, if all the stars and planets line up in all the wrong ways, you could potentially be holding somebody's health and well being in the palm of your hand. So take the time, do a good job, just watch out for people. Yeah, Carl, I hear you there, man. Well, Gma, I think you got the right idea, hun. We've been going on here not quite 2 hours, and I kind of fizzled out on my rant a little bit. Sorry, guys. When I made that video short earlier tonight, I legit, I was mad. I was kind of fired up, and I came home. I talked with the old lady for a little while. We caught up about the workday and all that, and I had a woo saw moment. But it was something I wanted to share with you guys and put it out there, because you know, think of it like this: we're uh, we're all unique in our own individual ways, but on the same page, think about somebody that knew nothing about motorcycles whatsoever, and all of a sudden one day that switch got flipped and they decided, "Hey, I want to buy a bike. I want to learn how to ride. I want to ride a motorcycle. I want to set out on this path in life." Be the ambassador for that new guy. Help them out. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you want somebody being a shithead to you, or saying, "Well, it's you paying your dues"? No, it's not. You're dumping a rash of shit on somebody just because they know less than you and you know it. I.e., you're being a dick. Don't be a dick. Probably ought to put that shit on a bumper sticker or something. Oh, wait, somebody already did. But anyway, yeah, that's probably the best words of wisdom I could leave you guys with tonight. Have fun. Don't be a dick. Anyway, gang, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for listening to me rant and ramble. Guys, if you haven't already seen it, go check out the post I put up on Patreon. Any of you guys that are considering jumping into the deep end of the pool on suspension updates and stuff like that, if you don't have the ability or you don't have the uh, the time or the place or the facilities to do that stuff, holler at me, hit me up. We'll get you squared away on it. And while we're at it, we'll save you a hell of a lot of money. So yeah, give it a look see. All right, y'all. I'm gonna pull the plug on this. I appreciate you guys coming around to hang out, and I will. I will. Yeah. Oh no, I got to work out this whole schedule thing. We may be looking at moving over to Thursdays for a while, guys, but I will. I'll give everybody a heads up before we do anything permanent. Okay. All right. Riders, y'all. Love you. Be safe. Be good. If you can't be good at it. I'll see you next trip.